Hey, how are you? I'm Stephen Tocher, and tonight I'm delayed about an hour because I started streaming, and sadly, one of my family members came out. They were sick, and I need to attend to that right away as family comes first. So, to those of you who were on the stream a little while ago, my family is okay. They ran into some an illness issue, and they're better now. So, thanks for being on with me now here. So. This Today we're going to be talking about the 10 reasons why people are depressed in 2025. There's a lot going on here. Hey, oh no, oh thank you. Top H, top hat. Yeah, it's life. I got two little kids and my wife, and who knows about our future too. We'd like to have more. We live in a smaller place, but what can you do, right? So thankfully, my family member is okay. They became like really sick really quickly. Okay, so tonight we're gonna talk about the 10 reasons why people are really depressed. And I think living in Toronto, I don't know about where you all are from tonight, but the cost of living is out of control, obviously, and I think people are really struggling with their jobs, with how they're, their livelihood as a whole. You got people, some families working, multiple people in the family working jobs, sometimes multiple jobs per person, and that is really taking its toll on people across the board, like around the world. Like it's just hard to eat. It's hard to, do the normal things, and it's causing a lot of people to feel the pinch. So I think cost of living is one of the things that also is attributed to by poor budgeting and people like getting stuck in addictions pretty quickly, and so they keep on eating or drinking or gaming or whatever it might be to allow themselves to feel better about themselves. So I think cost of living is probably the number one thing that must be really, hindering a lot of people. And again, this is coming from Toronto. There's a lot of other things that are affecting people within Toronto, but the cost of living, just even the rent, or if people are remortgaging their homes, there's just a lot that people are struggling with right now. I'd say number two on the list would be AI. I think there's a lot of concern and fear. I just heard a speaker for a predominant company come on, and they went from, I think the AI was called an AI agent. So this AI agent phenomenon that we've seen over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years has become quite prevalent. But now we're looking at not AI agents, but actual like AI sentient, like not beings per se, but AI like planners. People are becoming a little bit less connected, I guess you could say, and they are really allowing the new AI that's coming out, the new agents in that sense, they're able to access multiple parts of our lives, able to access multiple parts of our, whether it's our wallet or our access book, or like say you're using like an app like Signal or WhatsApp or whatever it might be, they're doing like all of the planning for your social lives, which is also causing a disconnect for people with their ability to socialize as a whole. And that's becoming, I think, quite problematic for people, in the year 2025. And people are naturally, whether they are feeling depressed because of, the way AI is encroaching on people's jobs, uh, and or the way that they feel that AI is kind of just naturally causing them to disconnect more and more from other people. Or are you using this? Hey, Potato, what's up? Love the name, Potato. How'd you even get that name in the first place? That's crazy. I always think of the people who had the one-word names for their YouTube channels. That's amazing. I usually can't access them, or you got to be like Potato number 17 or something. Yeah, so that would be thing number two. So we have cost of living, which is number one. Again, for me living in Toronto, and AI, and this is causing a lot of people that I work with, just these two factors, much less the last eight, to really not even count every penny, but kind of almost have the reverse effect. They just kind of spend willy nilly. They just kind of buy whatever, no, it's because of the emojis. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, that makes sense. Looks like fries in a regular potato. That's cool. Um, so yeah, I think that's a cause for people to really move or feel that life is just overbearing. It is really it's really difficult. Um, Funny enough, there's such a like a almost depressive swing that's going on, at least in the heat of the summer here. I just see as people walk the streets, there's no life. Oh yeah, absolutely. Odelay, um, can you speak French because you live in Toronto? No, not well. Hey Jackie, what's going on? I'm going to go back to Odelay. Can you pray for me? Please type out what we can pray for. We'd love to pray for you tonight. That would be fantastic. If you feel comfortable for sharing, if not, no worries at all. We can do a silent prayer for you or a silent request prayer as well. Oh, you're from Montreal. Okay, so I am not great with languages. As it is, I barely know English. I tried French for like, I'd say maybe 9 years, and I just could never grasp it. I think I'm one of those learners who have to be there for me. I have to be in the culture, immersed with people. So for the language to take, I think that's a big thing for me. Okay, pray that my job gets better and I get my license. Oh, absolutely, for sure. Well, we can do that absolutely right now. Donc, tu parles un, deux, terre au français. Okay, so like I can read French decently. Hopefully I have a decent accent. So donc tu parles un petit dans français. So I can kind of do the accent, but that's about as far as it goes. Um, all right, so Odelay, yeah, I'll just quickly pray for you right now. Lord Jesus, I just want to bring up Odelay. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Just pray for his job and for the license that he needs to get, or they need to get. I don't know, he or she. And I just pray that you would give them peace in their difficulty in their times. This is the life that we live in right now, where uh, people are just they're falling by the wayside. They're frustrated. They don't know how to survive or breathe, and they don't even know how to take time to rest. So I just pray for Odelay right now in Jesus' name, Amen. And that again, that is one of the reasons why people are depressed is their job within the cost of living is it's just not adequate. It's really really difficult. Um, well, my name is TJ and I'm new here. Hey TJ, what's going on, brother? I'm pretty new too. This is my second stream. I've done a ton of videos on on YouTube and well, I'm doing more and more shorts. My main goal is to help people with addiction and to help people get over the tough stuff in life and ask the tough questions and hopefully drill down to some answers. So thanks for coming out here. Also, can you shout out today was my 15th birthday? Okay, 15 birthday. All right, man. Congratulations. 15 years on our spinning rock that God has in control. So hopefully you have another, at this rate of technology, and you try to live as healthy as possible. You could live to 115, pretty much no problem. So hopefully this is the beginning of a long life for you and lots of wonderful things ahead. You're welcome, Odelay. Absolutely. Yeah, if you ever need any prayer, usually I'm going to try to do this Thursday night, an hour earlier. But again, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I started the stream around 10, and one of my family members got sick, and so I had to just stop the stream right away. Family comes first, and we're back at it. So I'm glad to be with you. Yes, so I'm getting some French. Est-ce que tu as Toronto et Belleville? I think it's how close is Toronto to Belleville? About an hour and a half. I like Belleville a lot. Belleville's pretty cool. Amen. God meant for me to come here today. Well, hey, maybe by God's grace, like it says in Hebrews 12, there is, trials and tribulations. There are problems that come up in our lives so that God can work in them so that we have a deeper relationship. Sometimes it's our sin, but sometimes it's sadly, one of my family members gets sick, and now I'm able to chat with you, Odele. So thank you for coming out. That's good. You're a good person. I pray too. I go to church Thursday and Sunday. Oh, praise God. That's hey, going to church is so fundamental to breaking addiction, breaking out the cycles of depression, and taking away the enemy's hold on you if you feel like isolated or alone. Um, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you're heading to church. That's good, TJ. That's good. No, it says Toronto is a beautiful city. Sorry. I thought it was Belleville. Yes, no, Toronto is a beautiful city. Yes, it absolutely is. Um, yes, potato. Yeah, Toronto is gorgeous. There's a lot of wonderful things. There's a lot of tough things about it too. And like I said, number one, cost of living. Number two, got AI. I'll be right back. I'm gonna pray before I eat my dinner. Amen, TJ. You do your thing, brother. Sorry, Odele said, I wish I could go to church. So hard with everything I have to go on in my with my parents and when I go working. Well, you know what? I'll say this, Odele, and thank you again for your messages. When you make time for God, God rearranges things. I promise you that. You may not see it right away, but God can do that. Now, if there's obviously circumstances that don't make sense. There are circumstances that are super tough, and I have to go RN, and my parents go when I'm working. Uh, well, you know what? There's different services and churches. I don't know where you are in the world. I can't even grasp that sometimes. I think of city when I think of uh, you know when I'm streaming or talking to people. But I think if it's possible, there might even be a Saturday service or a Bible study that you could attend at a local church. So that might be up your alley as well. Is watching church stream okay? Oh, totally. If that's all you can do right now in your time in life with all the busyness that's going on, you do your thing. 100%. You just go to church when you can, if you can, or go to a Bible study. But if you can just watch, watch online. Find a church that is helping you to grow, that is grounded in the Word, that allows you to connect with the Holy Spirit, allows you to connect with wise counsel, and get discipleship on within your church. And hey, yeah, do it up. If it's online, it's online. That's what's up. Um, so yeah, thanks again for you keep the conversation coming. I'll just jump in and out before. Reason number three is I think it's a lack of respect. Reasons why people are depressed. There's a lack of respect across the board. Whether it's someone simply cutting you in line or cutting you in traffic and or driving on the emergency lanes. Like for me, that happens all the time when I'm commuting back and forth to work. People are just driving erratically. They don't use their signals, don't wait in line, will cut you off, treat you very, very poorly. And I think that lack of respect trickles into the education system, to jobs, and to, it's slowly like little things are crumbling within our quote unquote lovely, Western society. So, I think we as Christians need to be, looking at how we can gain other people's respect by the way we communicate and connect with others. And, also we need to, I think, rearrange our thought process. Because sometimes we want what it was like 5 or 10 or 20 years ago, but there's a quote in Proverbs essentially that says that we shouldn't be looking to times past or the respect we used to get, or the things that we used to feel or achieve or whatever it might be, or the house prices or whatever it is. Again, especially I'm speaking from a Toronto perspective, but we need to look forward to the beautiful things of tomorrow. And even though that lack of respect is definitely visible, like again with youth, with the way people treat police officers, the way police officers treat people who are usually minorities, with the way that political parties are disrespect each other. With all of this disrespect, I think as Christians we have a wonderful opportunity to show respect first, and if we get that respect back, wonderful. And if not, hey man, Jesus died for the same people, that nailed him to a cross. So I think we have to keep that in our perspective. So first we have cost of living is causing a lot of people for depression and causing a lot of people to be depressed. AI is number two, and I think lack of respect is number three. I'm just gonna go back to the chat here for a second. I just back. TJ just said back as I was saying. Also, if I don't go to church and school, I have my Bible study and we pray. Oh wow, that's wonderful. If you have multiple outlets to be able to talk to Christians, especially from other denominations, while you're in school, that is tremendous. That's wonderful. You know, when you enter into Bible study, the Word of God in connection with other people, as long as they're healthy and as long as they're pointing you to Christ and pointing you to the Word and pointing you to theology that is grounded in God's a relationship with God, a constant communication with the Holy Spirit, and a reverence for God, then you are literally tooling yourself with the most powerful being in our known universe, right? God is outside of time, space, matter, and energy. And yeah, if you can connect to those words are where it's at. Man, you go to church a lot. Okay, TJ, your work, that's amazing. Now, at some point, you know, going to church every day is maybe a little too much. Maybe you want to be out there with your friends, you know, you're 15 and you want to be a light to them as well, right? So, but if you feel like going to church 4 or 5 times a week and doing it at school is where it's at for you right now, and you need to tool up with the Lord, that's wonderful. Okay, so number four is joblessness. Do I speak French? Man, this is your second person that has asked me that tonight. I don't know. Do I speak français parler français? Uh, no, I don't. I don't speak French. I wish I did. But actually, I hope my kids learn French, and I'm taking like a type of Rosetta Stone. And so as they learn it, they're young. Then I want to like get them to teach me because that's the best way for someone to learn is through teaching. So yeah, if I can learn the French through them and they can learn it through me, that would be great. But as of right now, no, I cannot. That was Mac. Oh man, DJ, you're killing it tonight. I do speak Spanish, French, and Portuguese plus English. Well, you are killing it. That's the world, man. If I could say anything to everyone right now, thank you. Thanks. Um, if I could say anything to anyone right now when it comes to work, especially as number four is joblessness, perfect gateway, TJ, is that you know people are depressed about joblessness. So you're fighting AI, you're fighting a world where there's lack of respect, lack of good jobs. In that joblessness, learning languages and working with people is the only real jobs that are going to be sustainable for the next maybe couple years, 5 or 10 years into the future. Because if you can connect with people and you can find that niche where you are not going to be eliminated out of your job, you know, I would definitely say, you know, keep up with those languages that you've learned, TJ. Okay. Oh yes. Okay. So Mac. Oh, thank you, man. Okay. So straight goods. I've always loved Superman, but the past 20 years of Superman and DC, I'm not. I can't deal with. Like I'm a guy who kind of was raised in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, reading some comic books, a lot more graphic novels. I've always found that these two guys are supposed to be super fun and super happy and super wonderful, and this guy's supposed to be dark. So there's this quote where it says that uh, behind every shadow is a brilliant set of light. And so Batman is supposed to be the incredible detective, ninja, shadow, dark character, which I think Christian Bale did a decent job. And I think I haven't seen the new film with Patterson, but I think I think from what I've heard, he did a pretty good job as well. I don't. They're not my favorite Batmans. And really and truly, none of them are truly my favorite Batman because it hasn't come out the Batman that I would like to see, which was from Bruce Timm from the 1990s, early 2000s when he did all the animated series. But yeah, I would definitely say Superman's my favorite by far, and I'm hoping that with this new Superman that there's a lot of hope, and it's not like all like sometimes they make Superman to be out like Jesus, and he's obviously not. He's trying to be human, and this film nailed it through and through. So, and I hope the Flash is super funny because that's who he is in the DC universe. He's like Spider-Man essentially, just really really fast. So, yeah, I hope to see a dark Batman that's like a ninja that is super detective, super cool, and yeah, I hope to see the Flash as a real fun movie. Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, or Mr. Terrific, and Batman to be more dark, and of course you have the other dark characters like Lobo and stuff like that. But we'll see where that goes. Okay, Sean, Sean, how are you? Are you happy that the World Cup is coming to Toronto? Do you plan to see any games? Who do you want to win? Well, we'll see if Toronto can figure it out, or Canada can figure it out. It would be really cool. So I'm Scottish, German, Guyanese Indian. My last name is Tocher or Tocher. I'm kind of have the German vibes going on. I love actually the French team too, because from the '90s, I'm a big Zizou fan. I love Zidane. But yeah, so France, Germany does well. They always call them the German robots. But of course, I would love for Canada to do well as well. Or actually, obviously want Canada to do well and beat the States too, because it's really great whenever we can beat the States, as they have, I think, 10 times our population and probably spend like 20 times the amount of money on sports. So whenever we can beat them at anything, it's always fun. Yes, and TJ, thank you for salut Steven. Hi Steven. What cool, man. Um, Wonderful. Appreciate the comments here. All right, getting back to joblessness, I think that is causing a lot of depression in people's lives right now. I know that I think between the ages of, I think it's about 22 to 30, there's like a deep sense of nihilism where it's like, they don't know, where life is going to go. They're just so depressed. They feel like, again, AI is taking over their jobs. They'll never be able to afford a home. They feel disrespected. They feel weak. And the joblessness stuff is really pushed them into a corner. And then number five, you have it's hard to find good relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's obviously, dealing with a potential spouse, and just even family. I think over the past 20 to 30 years, a lot of people, parents that have had children have placed a lot more emphasis and time into their careers or their own ambitions, and kids have been just a something to attain to, something to hold on to for a certain amount of time, and just like kind of get them out the door and, hey, you're 18, go to school. Where I don't think it should be that. I think they should be, loved and adored children as a whole. And I came from an abusive home, and a home where they could have done a lot better for me, but they tried in other ways. So it's really hard to find a good relationship. Again, whether it's with your parents, your siblings, whether it's with friends, and for sure with a potential spouse. People just kind of sleep around and do whatever with their bodies, treating each other like a dime a dozen. And then there's a lot of people who they can't even get into a relationship, or they're afraid. And people under the age of, I'd say, 30 are really finding it hard to communicate with each other. And that breakdown of relationship, essentially, from a Christian perspective, is what Satan wants, and that's what leads to addictions. It leads to people just spending time on their phone. And going back to points 1 through 4, the cost of living, everything's just going up. It's causing people to just feel hopeless. And with the number 2, AI, the jobs that are being lost, and just how creepy. I think there was the new X app, Gronk, and their racy, or their spicy. Sorry, the spicy filter causes people to be doing some really reckless things with their bodies. So you can only imagine what the dark web is doing with AI as well. It's causing people to feel like the world is kind of collapsing in on itself, and that is number 3, like the lack of respect, causing people to feel depressed, joblessness, where you can't feel like you're going to pay your bills. And I've heard that Canada, where I live, is, has been trying for a while, at least with the present government, to push like a living wage for people, and that may or may not be the best thing for us all to just get enough to kind of live, because there's something good about work. Proverbs, peoples, throughout humanity, throughout the different religions and belief systems, work has always been a central part of how humans can exist and do well with their lives. So that joblessness, and feeling like you don't have purpose, is a killer in many ways. I'm just going to go back to the chat here for a sec. Stephen, you're not going to mind your business, but what country from? Oh yeah, sorry. I'm from Canada. I'm from Toronto. Wearing the CFL hat today. Yeah, so from T dot, busy place. Sean, have you been on the dark web? What are some of the scary things you've heard about it? So I personally have not been on the dark web. I don't want to touch the stuff. Just I don't. I don't. There's too many things that I could get myself, and I have come from a place of past addiction, whether it was pornography, gambling, overeating. I used to weigh over 140 kgs, about over 310 pounds. I've come from a place of just of horrible anger. I don't know if I said gambling, sports, gaming. So with my addictive behavior, I don't need to touch anything like the dark web. Now, what I do know from friends who are very tech savvy, who do have browsers and do have access to the dark web, there is a lot of things that you can get that is crazy. It's not very hard to find a weapon, to find different forms of contraband. It's not hard to find yourself into a lot of scams, whether it comes to Bitcoin, and just easy financial gain. There's a lot of snuff type films out there. There's a lot of there's probably like a lot of good stuff too, I guess you could say, on the dark web, where people are trying to cultivate anti-system things to help other people out, where they may not be able to talk about it freely. But for the most part, I've been staying away from the dark web, so I don't know too much about it. I just know that you can pretty much access anything you want on the dark web. Yeah, there's a lot of finances, a lot of and with, like, for instance, even with like Bitcoin and all of these different new forms of cryptocurrency, which will most likely be the form of currency 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now. There's just no regulations, and that's one thing that I hope the governments can kind of figure out, which leads us to number 6, the teardown of government systems, or there's too many government systems. That leads people to be extremely depressed. So we've become a culture where everyone is pitting themselves against each other, where it's this color versus that color, or this belief system versus that belief system, or there's even subsects of systems, of governments that are like fighting amongst each other now. And that teardown of the system and the teardown of the open dialogue is causing people to be really depressed, and the blurring of the lines too. And on the flip side, even if you look at the housing market, at least in Canada and Ontario in particular, and I can drill down even to Toronto, the amount of red tape to get yourself started, it's unbelievable to get to build a room, to get houses built, and that's all that red tape, all that government, clustering of money has caused people to just leave Canada. They just don't want to be part of it anymore. So there's either too much of a glut of the government system, and or there has been tearing down of the government systems, because not because even the glut that there's so much of it, it's just like it doesn't even work anymore, and that is causing people to really feel depressed. Sean, again, what type of job do you have currently? Do you enjoy it? Well, actually, I'm an interesting character when it comes to work. I have worked 15 companies, 34 different positions over the past 26 years. I've worked sometimes up to 100 hours a week. I have worked in pretty much any and every job you can think of. I've done some video directing for music videos. I've done construction work. I was a roofer on and off for about 7 or 8 years. I did demo. I've worked with children for a long time at the city of Toronto. I was a rink rat with working with the ice. I delivered flyers, worked at McDonald's, Pusateri's, which is a very high end, very, very high end grocery store. I have worked at churches. I've worked for a plethora of different places and companies. I've even been a driver for exclusive aquariums and high-end fish. So I've done just about every job you can think of. The job I hold right now is in facilities and mailroom work. So I do a lot of manual labor, and I actually started at the company within Google Analytics and helping out with addresses and images and work that allowed us to keep the data well contained because we at the company I work for literally I'd say deal with probably four or five, probably 400,000 clients, and just keeping Ontario running in many ways. So I started off with Google Analytics and Google Data, but I just really wanted to be with people, work with people, and connect with people. And so within facilities, I can really do that. I can talk to the CEO of my company and I can talk to middle management. Everyone knows me by name, and I can also share the gospel and I can talk to people and counsel them and walk with them. And now I'm moving into doing this, a couple videos a week, and I'm finishing up my book that I started years ago, and moving into semi-private classes eventually, as well as some pastoral work with my local church. So I'm bridged in a few different areas right now, uh, and I do for the most part like what I do. Most of the jobs I've had, I really haven't. But at the moment, as I'm transitioning into using my 20 years of experience helping, motivating, discipling, mentoring people in general, men in particular, I feel like my gifts and talents, hopefully for the next 20 or 30 years, will be to invest in the future and help people get through some very, very hard times ahead. Hopefully that answers that question, Sean. Thank you so much for asking it. Okay, so again, top 10 reasons, or sorry, not top 10, we've gotten through six of them so far, of reasons why people are depressed at the moment seem to be cost of living, AI, lack of respect in society, joblessness, hard to have relationships and keep up relationships, the teardown of government systems or the glut of systems. Number seven would be religious freedoms. So I think we're really feeling the pinch begin. There are people begin of not persecution per se, but a lot of freedoms are starting to get squashed. Now, I'd say 90 to 95% of the quote unquote Christian world, uh, as a Christian myself, experiences very, very little. Sorry, my apologies. I'm gonna flip that information. 90 to 95% of the world experiences a high amount of persecution, whether it's there's not a lot of people in their community that are Christians, or the laws and the way they can even just do business is against Christianity in many, many different countries. But in the West and in certain countries for the past 100 years or so that have been quote unquote dominated by Judeo Christianity or so-called Christianity, have been allowed us to have some religious freedoms and send out missionaries and be a light in the world. But as we I think to start to decay and have put ourselves in a situation where the church is kind of falling down or falling apart a bit, those freedoms are going along with it, and whatever freedoms we thought we have actually made a lot of, I think, Christians cold, and or people who are kind of Christians cold. So those religious freedoms are going to naturally crumble, but that doesn't mean that within that feeling of depression within churches that God is not going to work. In fact, usually God works in a mighty, mighty way when there is persecution, when there is pushback against Christianity. So that is definitely a reason for depression. And I think as a whole, religions versus the secular world, or versus the government, or versus like the Western world, is very much so that if you do have a religious belief system that adheres to certain beliefs and thoughts, you are going to have a lot of pushback put against you by people who feel that the church or other religions have, really hurt people for centuries and decades, and they're they have a great point actually, that they have hurt a lot of people over the years, but that doesn't mean fundamentally that these religious groups are doing that in the masses. And for the most part, if you look at Christianity as a whole, yes, there were times where there were religious leaders who were doing some terrible things, and maybe armies and people groups who followed them. But for the most part, if you look at most of the hospitals, if you look at a lot of the places where slavery was abolished or slavery was removed, versus a lot of the places in the world that not, and that stuff is still going on, they are Christian places. And I do ask the question quite readily to people who push back against Christianity. I say, what are the top 10 countries you want to visit or you'd want to live in? And usually they're countries of Judeo-Christian backgrounds. So I think people are getting depressed about their religious freedoms in some ways. Let's go into the chat here. Okay, I don't see anyone at the moment on the question here, so I will go to the next one, which is why are people depressed? And that is climate change. People are feeling the heat, and they're feeling it in in a, I guess, nice way, you could say, where it's like, okay, it's hot outside, but they're also feeling the climate change, for instance, in St. John's right now, where people are still on the evacuation watch with with the fires that are happening, and some of the stuff is man-made, that's for sure, but climate change is definitely causing people to be worried, right? Like a little while ago, we had the droughts in California. You've had the issues that the forest fires in Vancouver and in the States and in Hawaii. I think that was last year with Hawaii. You have the shifts in weather patterns, which is causing farming to have issues, livestock, animals, and just a lot of changes that are causing people to be concerned. And I'm not a climate change warrior. I'm not a social justice warrior by any stretch of the imagination. But I will say that within that climate change, we do have to be readily aware that God called us to be, from the inception with Adam and Eve, called us to be a light and to take care of the earth. That was the first mandate that we had. And to have children, to go forth and multiply, sanctity of marriage and being married, all of those things applied before the Jewish laws came. I'm going into sermon mode, but before the Jewish the laws, the Ten Commandments came around, these were things that applied to all people from around the world. Was to take care of the planet, to get married, to have children, to not kill each other, those types of mandates. So yeah, climate change is causing a lot of people to be very concerned, and even just the idea of having cars, like people are really concerned about not only, okay, I should get a hybrid car or I should get an electric car, but now there's the concern about where the batteries go. So as climate change comes about, people are making some good decisions. Like, I'd like to get an electric car or a hybrid, probably a hybrid car more than electric, especially with the winters in Canada. But if I was to be able to get a hybrid vehicle, and be able to use gas and battery most of the year, because the battery in the winter is terrible for a lot of the electric cars, at least at the moment. But there's that concern about, where do I dispose of these batteries, like long term? How healthy is it for the planet? So I think climate change and just our environment is something that people are very, very concerned about. So I'm just looking at the chat here. Okay, nothing new. All right, so I'll go through the list again. We're up to number 8. So it's the cost of living, or why people are depressed at the moment. There's the cost of living. You've got AI and the challenges that comes up with that, and loss of jobs. You have lack of respect in society and the way people are treating one another. Joblessness as a whole, as not only AI is cutting into jobs, but jobs in general are going, the way of the dinosaur, as the rich get richer and the poor seem to get poorer. You have hard to get good relationships, as parents and children seem to be disconnecting more and more. People on their phones all the time. People are struggling to find, just even good friendships, and just to talk to anyone, much less actually have a spouse in their future. Then we have the teardown of government systems, or too many government systems, religious freedoms, climate change, and the next one is, there's the fear of another pandemic that keeps on breathing its head. If you take the time to look at some of the medical journals, or you look into maybe page 3 or 4 of the online newspaper, you'll see that there's another little pandemic that pops up. And there's not to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but you hear a lot of people, even like a Bill Gates. No matter how I feel about Bill Gates personally, he does uh, pay a, he pays a big attention to the way the world is going with pandemics and things like that. And I would say that he's very, very concerned about another pandemic coming up, and he was concerned about COVID, and all of a sudden COVID was here. So yeah, just something to, that I know people consistently talk to me, not consistently, but talk to me about on a fairly regular basis, about the fear of another big breakdown in society with a big sickness. What are some of the signs you like a girl? Are there any telltale signs? Oh, okay, that's an interesting question, Sean. So Sean says, what are some of the signs you know a girl likes you? Are there any telltale signs? Okay, that's a loaded question. So I would say the first thing that comes to mind is the interactions that you have with this young lady, or this woman in general, this girl. I don't know how old you are, or what situations you connect with them in, but I'd say a telltale sign is how you engage with that person in a social setting versus an intimate setting. So I've dated many women before I met my wife. Not tons, but enough women. And I met a few women who I met online. I met my wife online, and the women who I dated in social interactions who liked me, or who I was able to ask out and affirmed that they liked me, and it wasn't just rumor. I can tell you off of that in those type of social settings. So definitely the interest in what you have to say is a big one, and taking the time to care about your hobbies, about your day, and there is definitely when women will either put you, I guess, in that friend zone, or they will put you in that relationship mode if they're intimate with you. A lot of people think that uh, a good relationship, or a relationship, starts when you start really connecting, or kissing, or making that physical contact, or holding hands. But actually, relationships start with intimacy. So especially with women, stereotypically, that's a very stereotypical comment, but whenever a woman is really willing to share deeper thoughts with you, um, deeper, what's the word I'm looking for? Deeper life stories. I think that's when, as Sean, you're asking about the signs, when a girl may like you. When you have those types of conversations, you're going to go into one of those two bands, like a really great friend, or she's really into you, and she feels safe. And that should be in any partner, like if you're a guy or a girl, right? If you want to be with someone long term, you want to feel safe with them. You want to be able to talk to them about anything. So I'd say that's one thing. Another simple, funny one that comes to mind, it keeps coming to mind, that's why I'll bring it up, is if she plays with her hair, maybe when she's talking to you, maybe if she, maybe touches your shoulder, or she wants to spend that quality time with you. And one way to kind of figure out if that is something that is just natural, is to observe how she is with other guys, and see if she does those same things with other guys that she may be close with. And if she does, well, then that's just probably the way she interacts, or maybe she's being flirtatious. Now, if you want to take it one step further, you could look into her personality type and kind of figure out, is she, in the Myers-Briggs side of things, is she like a, more outgoing? Is she more reserved? Like I'm an ENFJ, so I'm very extroverted. I use my intuitions to govern my decisions a lot of the time. I'm very feelings based, and I plan things a lot. I love to have things organized. So, you could kind of brush up on your personality skills and personality traits and see if she's giving you those connections in that way. Because oftentimes, I would say over the dozens of couples that I've helped either get together, break up, or get married and or help with their marriage, and I say dozens because there's been a fair number of them, but I don't want to say hundreds or anything like that. Usually opposites attract, opposite personalities attract. So I would say that's something that you'd want to maybe look into, is personality types. And then there's a book called The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and those five love languages are acts of service. So they want to do something for you just because it's just a part of who they are, how much they love to show love. So maybe it's like to help you clean something, or they're willing to go get your laundry for you, or if you're in a tight spot, they want to help out. So there's acts of service. There's non-sexual touch. So it's a gentle hug, or maybe like a tap on the shoulder, or like just maybe like an elbow bump or something like that. There is gifts, and it's not like gold digger gifts, but like gifts that are from the heart, right? Like maybe she knows that she knows that maybe like your power cable is not working, and she goes out and buys that for you, and it's something that's from the heart that she thinks about, that she cares about for you. And then there is, I'm gonna have to try to remember these acts of service. Let me just look it up. Better do. I haven't done that tonight. So 5 love languages. Not always fact check myself. I am not a robot. Thank you. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, which are mine. It's my favorite love language, which is to say words of affirmation, to affirm how they're doing, what they look like, and then there's lastly, it's quality time, like just not sitting down and watching TV, but just turning everything off and engaging with that person. So once you kind of like maybe figure out if she's into you, and maybe you kind of figure out her love language, and she's really open and connected to you, and she wants to say like maybe keep touching your shoulder or something like that, and she's a touch person, well, that means that her love language, she's pouring out into you. And so I would say between like the time that she wants to spend with you, not just quality time, but just like, is she trying to pull you off to the side and spend time with you and chat with you? Is she what's her personality type, and then her love language? I think those three indicators are usually good places to start, as well as how much she interacts with you and how much she wants to either see you, or how much she's interested in your stuff. Because at the end of the day, she might not be interested 10 years from now, like my wife with some things, and myself with her. But is she giving you the time of day to actually say, I want to get to know Sean more? So hopefully that answers your question there. But yeah, just get yourself into as many circumstances or situations, and see if she's acting the same way with other guys, or if she's acting differently with you. And usually that will end you in the friend zone, or end you in the relationship zone. But I will say this: not always, but stereotypically as men, I think we just gotta sometimes take the plunge. Just ask them out, and or at the right time, and make yourself known. That's something that everyone loves, but women in particular, again, anecdotally, stereotypically, confidence. It's just if you've known someone for a few months and you're getting along and you talk all the time, say, hey, would you, and again, from as a Christian perspective, hey, would you like to, get to know each other more with the idea of moving towards maybe marriage or dating? And I think being straight up with them is huge. So I think it's not only just the telltale signs, but it's also how you approach. This whole night, I mean, I should have just lowered this earlier. I feel like I've crunched my elbows up the whole night. So yeah, hopefully that helps. All right. So lastly, but not the least of all, which is part of the reason for this stream in general is to talk about addictions. So that's number 10 on the list. So again, we've been going through the reasons why people are depressed: cost of living, AI, lack of respect, joblessness, hard to have relationships. Number 5, the tear down of government systems or too many government systems. Number 6, religious freedoms being stifled. Number 7, number 8, climate change, fear of another pandemic, and lastly, addictions. So I think people are depressed because they're in a cycle of addiction, and it's very, very hard to break those addictions. Because you start off with feeling like, for instance, maybe you just lost your job, and then you have a lot of time on your hands, and maybe it's porn. Maybe you start constantly going on, online, and you're just, looking for that next fix. You start thinking about a coworker or a person that you know, even from church or just in your life. You're searching and searching and searching, and you want to find someone that looks that way to get instant gratification. And your addiction then leads you to, okay, well, I do what I do, and then, you start eating poorly, and it just is this cycle of doing the same thing over and over, and then, you maybe just game or you doom scroll for a while. And if some of you found me doom scrolling, wonderful. I'm glad a couple of you have been here the whole time, so thank you for that and asking all these wonderful questions. Thank you, Sean and TJ in particular, and Odele for messaging Potato earlier. So addictions can be very cyclical. So let's say another one is, again, with why people are depressed is maybe the cost of living. You can't really do too much. You can't go on that trip that you wanted to go on in the past. So you immerse yourself in video games, and it's great to play video games. I play video games. I've played a lot of video games over the years, and I was addicted to video games 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago. But it's when it becomes something that is irreplaceable in your life. You can't go without it, especially after a day or 2 or 3 days. That puts you in a cycle of depression. And to fight those addictions, I've done a bunch of shorts, and I'm making a longer form video on putting on the armor of the Lord and allowing yourself to be tooled up, so you can spiritually fight these addictions and fight depression as a whole, because depression can sneak up on you and just take you out. I've had at least 2 bouts of depression. Both times I resisted medication. One time, even within my work, because I was on my insurance, I lost $8,000 because of it, because I wouldn't take the pills and I wouldn't lie about taking the pills, because I think that can be addictive as well, to kind of just get your mood up. And let me start by saying, if you need medication for your for your depression, totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. That's great in your position, your situation. For myself, I didn't feel like I needed that. I had great therapy sessions. I had great mentors, and it was really things in my life that were addictions that were causing me to be depressed and to feel like the world was concaving in on me. So yeah, I would say addictions is number 10. If someone is new here again today, it's cost of living, AI, lack of respect, joblessness, hard to have relationships, tear down in government systems, religious freedoms, climate change, fear of another pandemic, and addictions. And again, addictions pretty much could slot in anywhere from 1 to 10. I didn't do it in any particular order. But if you are struggling with addiction, I'm here for you. If you want to share a message or a comment or a question, I personally have never struggled with addictions to drugs and alcohol. But I have had addictions to, like I've said in the past, gaming, porn, overeating. I used to be over 140 kgs. I used that's about 305, 310 pounds. Got down to about 185 now with muscle, about 200, 205 or so. I feel healthy about it. It's not a god either, because fitness being, I did like 250 or 60 videos with fitness. I had fitness people and models wanting to work with me 10 years ago in gyms, and it wasn't for me. I felt that was becoming an addiction as well, like the healthy lifestyle, the eating perfectly, the perfect image, the social media world that, again, is number five, hard to have good relationships when you're seeing all these quote unquote fake people posting all the time. It's very, very, very difficult to not even doom scroll. Like I catch myself doom scrolling sometimes too, and I usually put my phone away later in the evening. But since I'm, doing these videos now, I have to re up my safeguards. How often do you have cheat meals? My whole life is a cheat meal. I'm just kidding. So okay, it really depends on where you are in your health journey. Hopefully, anyone who's watching, I pretty much finished all 10 here. So it pretty much depends on where you are in your health journey. So I would say if you have a lot of weight to lose, maybe keep it to once every other day, or once every, 3 or 4 days. I think if you have some weight to lose, maybe have like a little treat every day. If you have not much weight to lose, have a little treat every day. You want to keep motivated because it's consistency. I lost the weight. I've kept 120 pounds off now for about 10 years, moved 10 to 12 years. I started the journey about 15 years ago to lose the 120 pounds, or about whatever that is, like 50 kgs. And I've gained some muscle since. I've gained a little bit of fat too, because as a father of two and working physical jobs and so on and so forth, I've had a lot of to deal with. And you eat. I lost a bunch of food. I've had some health issues as well. So sometimes it's just to get a quick bit of energy. You have some chocolate or whatever. You grab whatever is easy to get your energy going, especially when you're rocking a baby at 2 or 3, 4 in the morning. But yeah, so Sean, if it's possible, could you tell me where you at in your journey with health? Because I would say, like, I'm at the point in my life now where I am having like a treat a day still, like a small treat, or just like hard candies or snacks. But I fluctuate between having days where I do intermittent fasting, and in days where I do cuts, and days where I don't. Just if it's like a church event, or there's like someone invites me out for dinner, I try to fast that day if I can. But if not, I'm going to eat and be social, because again, I did put in the work for 10 years to get my body to lose or I guess 3 years to lose all the weight, about 10 to 15 to maintain it. I've always tried to be fairly athletic. So okay, I'm 280 pounds. I'm 6 feet. I've been working out 6 out of 7 days. I do 30 minutes workouts, and I have a cheat meal on Friday. Well, wonderful, brother. You and I are pretty similar. I was about 6'3", 310. And it's funny, I fluctuated between maybe 250 and 310 or so, with sometimes gaining muscle, sometimes not gaining muscle. But when I was really just overweight with not a lot of muscle, that's when I hit my worst at 310 about 14 years ago. And so I don't know if you have a lot of muscle, because again, 280 is a could be amazing. You could be like a Brock Lesnar or The Rock kind of thing at 6 foot, or you could just be needing to lose a lot of the physical fat, the weight itself. I would say I do a 30-minute workout. Are you rest? Okay, the first thing I want to ask is do you have a lot of excess fat? Have you lost some weight, or is this like the worst you've been at and you're trying to reverse it? Like, and you just need to know a little bit more information, at least with that. Are you very muscular, somewhat muscular, a lot of fat, or a lot of fat deposits on your body? And yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about your workout. that would be helpful. And again, just type it out at the speed you want. I can keep talking about other things. The reason why I'd like to know that in particular is because, body composition, weight, and height are very, very different. I have muscle on my arms and my legs are skinny, but my belly is the problem. Man, okay, you and I are basically the same thing. You and I are speaking the same language. Okay, so I would say this. Um, no, my last question to you is before I went any further is, do you have uh, do you have adequate rest and sleep? Is your body resting enough? And are you at a caloric deficit, or in my house I like to call it the health points deficit? Are you in a caloric deficit? And again, the reason why I ask these two questions in particular is, it's just the science is just too much. Okay, yes, I get like 6 to 8 hours. Great. Okay, perfect. So, okay, if you're resting well, I try to be in a deficit, but sometimes I get urges. Dude, that's totally normal. Don't worry about that. Okay, so you and I are okay. I can basically speak to you like I would speak to a younger version of myself. Oh, and sorry, how old are you if you don't mind? And what do your workouts kind of look like? And again, the only reason I keep on bringing up all these questions is it's a rapid fire in my head. I've helped hundreds of people lose weight over the years. I've never really done it for anything but just helping people, whether it's at the gym or I used to run within my church like a fitness group, and I just want to help people at work, so on and so forth. And I got a tummy myself, right? But this tummy that I have is just there. Okay, one day I do full body, another day I do abs, another day I do legs, cardio, and then I rest. And I'm early 20s. Okay, so you're on the right track. This is great. Okay, so you've asked me about cheat meals, but I want to go like in reverse if this makes sense to you. Um, okay, so I'm gonna ask. Uh, do you live with someone right now? Do you live on your own? Do you live with, and if you do live with people, are they health conscious, or are you fighting an uphill battle against them? Because I know for myself, when I was overweight, I was constantly fighting my family on their choices of eating, and that took me out. I was always really, really hard. Okay, so you live with your parents. Do they make healthy choices? And thank you for your transparency. This is it's really cool that you're open to breaking this stuff down for me, Sean. Thank you. And again, not always a lot of oily foods and carbs. Okay, so one thing I did was, I've given my family over $250,000 over a period of about 20 years. Like I helped keep my family afloat for a long time. So one of the things I did during that time frame was I took over the grocery bill. I took over the car started at the time, the grocery bills, all the insurance, part of the rent, my sister's braces, medical bills, and I just went out and I did the grocery shopping myself. So I would say the number one thing is the access to food, right? So if there's certain things that you're craving, have them outside. If you love donuts, go to the Tim Hortons or go to Dunkin' Donuts or whatever you got to go, have them outside. Don't have them in the house. You want to get that stuff away from you as much as possible. And for your parents' sake as well, if it's possible, say, hey, for 30 days or 60 days, can we only go out together and buy these things and make a nice day of it? Like enjoy once a week or, twice a week or something. Go out and just enjoy, sit down, eat something nice and fun. But for the most part, try to fill your home with, and if your body can tolerate it, very good, very easy to digest vegetables, fruits and vegetables. And then you want to go with as much protein as possible. That's one thing I wish, if I could build a time machine, go back in time and I could talk to myself at 20, 25 years old, I would have said, get on the protein bed. Not go crazy with protein, but have good, lean protein sources. So I try to get around 200 grams of protein a day, and I just really started it because I couldn't afford it for a long time with all the bills that I had. So first things first, try to get all the stuff that you really like eating out of the house right away, and try to take over the grocery bill if possible. Or try to go shopping with your family if possible, if you can't pay for the groceries, or you don't have an ability to buy them at your own disposal. So yeah, try to go for, again, maybe fruits and vegetables first, just because those types of things it's really hard to overeat fruits and vegetables. Like, it's really, really hard. And then if you are having nice, satiated, lean, but sometimes, fatty meats, but for the most part lean, you're going to find that you hit this place of satiation. You're going to satiate your body. And so as you eat more and more protein, your body will start to naturally change its composition. And all of these workouts will actually, start, the muscles will be, the protein will start feeding your muscles, and you'll be able to grow that way. And the energy stored as fat, when you can cut, that will be, able to, help with your workouts, help with the energy loss, and you'll be building muscle at the same time. And this is the thing. You may not see some days or some weeks or some months where you're like losing weight, but if you're putting on a decent amount of muscle, which is slow, but it'll happen, you will see your body composition change. So the number one way that you'll be able to see how your body will physically change is to just keep the clothes that you have and see if they're getting baggy. See if your belt is changing. See if your chest is getting bigger. Take photos, because any other way you're just not gonna you're not gonna see that type of change that you're gonna want to see right off the bat. So number one, again, is to and this I'll post this video next week Saturday, not this Saturday, but next week Saturday. If you need to see any of this information again, Sean, I'd say number one thing is to clear out all the stuff that are not good for you out of the house, to keep away the temptation factor for now while you're in this place in your life. And coupled with that, when you do have that one or two times when you want to eat something fun or nice, go out and do it, and try not to overdo it. Number two is you get those fruits and vegetables into you, get a lot of protein. I would say probably for yourself, like maybe 210, 220 grams of protein if possible. I remember when I was doing my weight loss training, I was getting like 110, 120, and I got to the point where I was not building any muscle, and I got so lean. I was down like 175 when I got sick. Like, you could see my like bones and see my face. It was just gross, and I just didn't know why, and I just wasn't having enough protein. So it'll fuel your body, get good rest, and you know what? This is gonna sound counterintuitive, but go for walks every day. Maybe work out only 5 times a week and walk every single day. Get a backpack and start by, it's called rucking. Start by your clothes are getting looser, but the belly just demotivates me. I feel that, man. Don't worry, Sean. It's okay. It takes time. Like, you basically have to rejig your entire body. Your body is built as a man to have the fat in your tummy all the time. So just do not lose motivation that way. It's going to take a long time. You're going to find that your arms and your legs are going to get defined, and you're going to have these abs and no one will ever be able to see, and this chest that's doing really well, and this big strong back. And then as there's nowhere else for the fat to run, then it'll start leaking off your body. Yeah, I know it's very, very, very frustrating, but you can do it. I believe in you. I've done it. And I'm not at the place at pretty much 40 in 3 weeks where I want to be, but I have 2 kids. I feel confident in who I am, and it's just about really and truly health. So yeah, if you could follow those steps even to start, but like I was saying before, rocking I think is a great thing to do. Like, I lost all that weight mainly walking, stretching, and eating properly. So rucking is when you basically get a backpack and put like a book in it, then you put in like 2 books next week, and then 3 books the week after that, and 4 books, and you keep on increasing the weight and going for the same length of distance walk Uh, Walking is just so good overall for your body. You can get some hand weights and go walking. And as a Christian, I would go praying or listening to a great podcast. By walking every day with an increased weight, maybe every week, like maybe 1 pound per week, starting off with no weight, doing the walk maybe for half an hour to an hour a day. And I would cut back on working out 6 days a week and maybe go to 4 or 5 days a week to give your body proper time to rest. And the more muscle that you build, the more that you ruck, the more that you walk, your body will change as you again are putting into your body a lot of good fruits and vegetables, because again it's really hard to overeat them, and lean protein. If you do that, you're pretty much in a recipe for success. Have some carbs, cool, nothing wrong with that. Carbs, you need them for your brain, you need them to fuel your body, give you energy. But just at every meal or each meal, or 2 meals a day, 2 meals or 1 meal a day that you have, try your best to have the carbs at the end of the meal, like your bun or your bread or your rice or whatever it might be. So that would be my suggestion, and do your thing. Oh, what do you think about 10,000 steps? I think 10,000 steps is just a great goal. It's just a straight up goal to go for. It's not even about a myth. It's just like 10,000 steps, and especially with rucking, adding weight and like maybe some hand. Like once you get to like maybe 20 or 30 pounds in your backpack, or you buy like a weight vest. Like I don't know your finances, but if you get like a weight vest, you can put in like the 30 or 40 pounds slowly, incrementally. You can get some hand weights, and all of a sudden now you're taking your skeleton structure, you're putting 40 pounds on, and you're burning as if you have that extra weight. So taking the concept of the 10,000 steps, and then actually progressing with that weight, that is a great way to burn fat. But again, it comes from a caloric deficit matched with great amount of protein, lean protein, healthy food choices. You will see your skin change. You will see your muscle mass grow. Your clothes will start getting very loose on you, and eventually you will start to see those changes. So yeah, I think 10,000, if you have a step counter, is a great way to get yourself motivated and started, and just keep at it. But I would say scale back on the gym. I'd rather you walking every day for half an hour to an hour, and building up the rucking, and inevitably getting maybe like some hand weights that start off at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds, or even just 2 water bottles, and doing that. So any other questions? I'd love, it's been like a 30-year journey for me. I've been overweight since I was about 10, and I battled with it for about 15 years. And if I had known in high school, like I played basketball at a pretty decent level. I played quarterback and tight end and linebacker. Played a lot of sports, but I just didn't know nutrition, and I gained weight by looking at a salad. So, and I used to also overeat as a way to cope with all the abuse that I went through. So, man, if I had known that growing up, I would have not been a star athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but life would have definitely been different for me. So Sean, just before I wrap up, do you have any other questions or thoughts? I will be trying again next week around 10 o'clock. If you'd like to subscribe, please do. I'll be trying around 10:15 next Thursday, and I will post this video soon enough. Wonderful, Sean. Yeah, hopefully they can help. And again, this video will be up, maybe I'll post it. I'm thinking maybe I'll post it this Saturday so that you can take a look at it again if there's anything that you missed or you want to talk about. So if you want to come to the live stream again, that'll be next Thursday, God willing, probably around 10:15 p.m. If you subscribe, you'll see that I'll put up the same day, the next live event. And yeah, if you have more questions, I'd love to help out, man. Oh, what are your go-to exercises that helped you? Well, the walking and rucking, like just look up rucking. That was like, when I was losing the weight, that was key. I actually made a video about like adding weights and walking with weights. So my go-to exercises and actually this is a blessing too, is I couldn't do a pull-up or a chin-up until I was about 30, and I did a lot of negatives. So definitely pull-ups and chin-ups, push-ups, so body weight. So I do sorry, I should say this. I have two kids now. I work a lot. I'm doing the video stuff. I'm doing a residency as well. So I'm really busy. So I actually use exercise bands, and I do about 30 or 40 different exercises with resistance from 20 to about 150 pounds of resistance. So resistance bands are so good because at my job I'm always walking around or I'm trying to ruck. So that's been very helpful. But the exercise bands, in the time it would take me to go to the gym and come back from the gym, which is 20 minutes, I can pump out a quick workout. And I do it to failure. So I would suggest if you only want to do body weight, do your burpees, your push-ups, your chin-ups, and your dips, and do negatives if you can with all of those exercises. Negatives is how I got to the point where I could do chin-ups and pull-ups. I couldn't do them my whole life. Even when I lost the weight, I lost 120 pounds. I still had to do the negatives, which are basically, you jump up or you on the dip machine at work, at the gym, and you just like allow for the weight to just give you enough strength to pull yourself up. But if not, and you're at a bar, just jump up, grab, and go down as slowly as you can, and then just keep doing that repeatedly, as many reps as you can, and then give yourself 3 or 4 days to rest. To work on your legs, single leg lunges are phenomenal. Single leg squats, if you want to, get to a higher intense level, if you don't have any money or you don't go to the gym. But if not, just do body weight squats are fantastic for your body. Or if you're ghetto and you're cheap, like I used to be, grab 2 bags of rice and I go to go to the supermarket, grab 2 pounds of 20 kgs of rice and just do some squats, do a couple sets, walk around. But yeah, the bands are really good. For like $50, you can get a good set of bands. You can do a lot of wonderful exercises. And the good thing is that when you do the exercises with the bands compared to when you're in the gym, is that the end of the exercise is usually the hardest, not the leverage point, which is like, oh, I'm doing a bicep curl. Oh, I got past the elbow, and that's the squeeze against gravity. Now with the bands, like when you're squeezing at the top, that's when you're going to get most of the resistance within the resistance bands. Not on the way down to the lowest part, but it's that fight against gravity. You're trying to pull it up and you're trying to get it past that joint area where the elbow is, where it hits 90 degrees. And then in the gym with equipment, I would say leg press, the Smith machine to keep yourself safe while you're losing the weight. The chest press, pec deck is always good times. Using any of those exercise machines that are going to be able to help you to do the dips and the chin-ups and pull-ups. Deadlifts, of course, but you really got to work on your form, especially if you're a taller guy like myself. Sumo deadlifts are good times, are a lot safer. I wish I had done those over traditional deadlifts when I was much younger, playing football and stuff like that. Would be in a better situation with my body if I'd done sumo, because I'm very, very long. I don't know about yourself if you have shorter limbs or not, but for me it's really, really long. So yeah, those are the ones I would say. If you have no money, do body weight and rucking. Still do rucking if you have some money, and do the band workouts, and just continue to progress at anything, because really and truly, as long as you're putting resistance on your body, your muscles will grow, you will burn energy. And if you have a calorie deficit, you're putting in the protein, pretty much the recipe for success. And then the mental game again is to make sure that you try to clean your house of a lot of the stuff that's not good for you, especially when you want to do a more serious long-term cut. Don't rush this thing. Give yourself a couple months, a couple years to say, I'm going to pound out the 100 pounds that you want to get rid of, and just chip away at it. Eat those lean meats, eat all your fruits and, your vegetables and your fruits and your lean meats first, because it's very, very hard to go into a caloric deficit when you have an apple, a banana, and you make a protein shake with some fruits, and then you have a big salad. Like it's just very difficult. Or if you have a lot of lean chicken, cut up a peach, have a bunch of lettuce with it, or you steam, some peas, which are pretty decent for protein. You have like piece of steak, a can of tuna, mix it up with some mustard, some hot sauce, and you know, you just get the lean proteins with the fruits and the veggies, and then you have some carbs mixed in. And once you get to the place where I think I'm at, which I've been at for about 10 to 15 years, the last 3 years less healthy with multiple kids and so on and so forth, you know, then I treat myself once a day. But as your original question, when it comes to cheat meals, you know, 2 3 times a week, you know, but don't even think of them as cheat meals. Really and truly love what you eat. Like, find good recipes. You know, sure, maybe it adds 100 200 calories, right? But if you're going to eat it every day and it's really healthy for you, it gives you tons of protein and it's vegetables, add a little bit of dressing. That's fine. You want long-term health. You want to get from 280 to hopefully like 220, 210, 200, 190, whatever it is. Build that muscle and live a long life. And eventually you'll find out the places and communities and different workouts you need to do. Yeah, so different stages in life, I'd say. All right, Sean, I am an old man and I'm getting tired. I appreciate you staying on, and I'm very thankful. Again, I'll be on next Thursday, and I will try to post this on Saturday. Yeah, try to post this on Saturday so you can rewatch it if need be. Oh, you're welcome, Sean. I'm glad you stayed. It seemed like for the whole hour and, or at least hour and 10, hour and 20 minutes. Appreciate that, man. All right, Sean, I'm gonna leave as I always do, and check out, subscribe to the channel, check out a bunch of the shorts about addiction and about life. And if you want to go into a deep dive for everything I've said, I've done 250-ish videos on eating, mental health, workouts, all that stuff. If you want to, you're basically where I'm at. Go back about 250 videos or so into my catalog and just follow that, and I do step-by-step breakdown. I did 4 videos a week for like 3 years or 2.5 years or something like that. So if you want real in-depth, maybe like, I think it was like 80 hours worth of information, go back about 250 videos, and I did it in chronological order, showed my workouts, what I was doing, what I was eating, and I tried to keep it as real as possible. So hopefully that helps. And I said it a million times before, but I'll say it again. I should have this video posted by Saturday, Saturday or next Saturday, and my next stream will be next Thursday around 10 p.m., not 11 p.m. So about an hour beforehand. But yeah, and it's Toronto time, around 10 p.m. on Thursday. All right, man, Sean, have yourself a wonderful day. Bless you, brother. Thank you for spending the time. Peace.